and welcome to Girlfriend Minute. I am Shar.
And I'm Pascal.
How are you today, Pascal?
I'm doing okay today. How are you?
I'm pretty good. It's Sunday. We all have to go. Well, you work every day,
I
so
I do, unfortunately, but it's okay.
you work every day. So yeah, I go back to work tomorrow, and the 2 days is never enough.
Well, I get one day, and that's my day tomorrow. So I'm on babysitting duty tomorrow,
Oh, but that's
and
fun. That's grandbaby time.
it is grandbaby time. I love to spend time with them, but there you go again. I'm not going to really have my own time, but that's okay.
No, you're not. No, and it's important too, but you got to also get that grandbaby time in too.
Yeah,
I understand that. I have one myself, so.
yeah, definitely,
uh,
definitely.
How was this last week for you up there in Pennsylvania?
Oh my gosh, where do I even begin? I know I had talked to you earlier in the week and told you what was going on, but it's just. Otherwise, whatever's going on in the restaurant is going to be going on, and it's just a mess in there right now. But otherwise, everything's okay.
Yeah.
We have a little bit of a rainy day today. Um, been like that since yesterday, and it's getting cold over here.
That's exciting because that truly feels like fall. And like here in Florida today, I went out on the boat with some friends to John's Pass and we anchored and played in the water, hung out in the water actually, and saw some critters and walked around and found some shells for a friend's relative that was in town visiting and got a little sun and enjoyed a boat ride. It's definitely warm out today.
Oh yeah, that sounds like a
All in
great.
Florida.
Yes. I would rather be there to tell you the truth, but I do like when the seasons change up here in PA, but you know, this time it's like um I don't know, a little depressing. The winter's coming, so you're on lockdown for the next 6 months or so until spring rolls around. But, something to look forward to, Halloween. Yay.
I do love the fall and the holidays. So I do love Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm never really a big, huge fan of New Year's, though. That's really funny. I don't really care about ringing in the new year. I don't know why that is. I never have been.
We spend the new year with family usually. Before maybe I want to say about 5 or 6 years ago, maybe I would go out and spend it with friends and have a good time on New Year's. But lately, it's just been pretty much family and a close circle. Nothing big, nothing huge. You know, that's it. A little bit of food, a little bit of appetizers, nothing much.
No, yeah, growing up, we always had friends over, and it was a bigger to do, and there was food and whatnot. And then as I was raising my children, we hung out with people that had children the same age, and they were all friends. And they liked to see how long they could stay up for. But over the last probably, yeah,
I remember those days.
yeah, over the last, I don't know, 5 or so years, I kind of just chill out at home and watch it on TV. And I usually miss it. I'm usually watching a movie, streaming a show, and I miss it. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I mean, owning a restaurant now kind of, opens up a door where I almost have to kind of be there. New Year's Eve, we open up until a certain time, and then after that, we close. And so pretty much we hang out over there with the family. Um, and do, like I said, do a little bit of food, a little bit of music. And then my brother will put it on the countdown, and then we'll count down, and then everybody will go home after that.
Right. And then you're left cleaning
Oh, I don't clean up. They clean up. I don't have time for that.
up.
I do as little cleaning as possible over there.
I don't blame. I don't blame you one bit. Yeah.
Yeah, well, right
You
now I
can
have them. I have
you can
them
make.
working. What is it?
I said you can make it themed New Year's. You can do a
Oh,
theme.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we are making a theme for Halloween though, so we're having a big bash.
Are you?
Yes,
Halloween bash.
Halloween bash. Yeah. So hopefully it'll be big like it was last year, and we go from there. So,
That's cool. That's cool.
yeah.
You do anything prior to Thanksgiving at the restaurant?
No, not really. Not really. I think this year for Thanksgiving though, I would like to see if I can set like a tent outside in the front of the restaurant and possibly just give out food to whoever's working, that day.
Oh,
Um,
that's
yeah, I'll have a couple people come in and help me, and we'll just kind of pack them up, in the boxes, the to-go boxes and stuff. And then after that, we'll just hand them out to the people who are working. The police guys, the healthcare workers,
ENTs.
um, the EMTs. Yeah, even whoever's hungry, they can come by and get some. So that's
That's
my plan. I don't
that,
know if it's gonna happen, but we'll see.
that's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
So,
What about you? What's going on?
oh, not much. Work's just been a little different. The clinic, things are changing. I don't know if the parent company that acquired us, our clinic, acquired another clinic and they just haven't told us. But so the last few weeks we've been getting these different emails, and their choice of words is always interesting. As of right now, your paycheck is still signed by DCMG. As of right now, we are not changing our name. As of right now, and it just goes on, and you're sitting there going, really?
Okay, that means things are about to change for you.
So I believe in the beginning of the new year, we're going to have polos that say Sanitas. I shouldn't probably say that. I'm just kind of going, it's just kind of what
Yes.
I think is happening. So, and how that changes for me at the clinic, I don't know. So I'm just kind of holding on at the moment. But that means I have to put my plan B into play sooner than later. And I'm going to be doing that here in the next week or two. So, and that's good because I needed the push, the kick in the butt, so to speak.
Okay, so I guess it's kind of working out for you then. So that's
Yeah,
good.
in theory, yes.
Very cool. Very cool. Good.
So
Things are
that's
looking up,
about it.
hopefully.
Yeah, that's about it. And yeah, I don't know. Grandbaby's good. He was gonna come over this weekend, and the other grandma had surgery involving her ear and something implanted between her ear and her brain, or I don't know something, and it had to be. I don't know if it was redone or taken out or whatever, and she hasn't been able to hold him for 6, 7 weeks or so. And
Oh my, that's a long time.
his daughter's like, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna take him to the other grandma so she can have him and pick him up and hold him because she wasn't allowed to lift anything over 10 pounds for so long. So
Right,
that's
right.
I ended up going on the boat today, which it's always a good day on the water.
Absolutely. I
I
wish I was there
like,
with you.
it's hot outside, so if I can be in the water, I'm good. So
Yes, that's always good.
yeah, so that's about it. And then we go back to work tomorrow and see what the new week brings.
Yes, hopefully better days ahead for the
Hopefully.
both of us. Yes.
I hope so. I hope so. Yes.
Well, what do you got for our great topic this time around for our episode 3? Woohoo, we're getting there.
So we are getting there. So I posted on our Facebook page, Girlfriend Minute on Facebook. Um, Always go with the choice that scares you the most because that's the one thing that's going to help you grow. And I asked, what choice have you made that scared you the most? What made you choose it? How did you cope? And what was the outcome? I had two replies. And this is all new. We're not huge, and we have friends that are participating and giving us a little bit of feedback on our Facebook page and stuff. Our one
I
mutual,
thought it was pretty good feedback.
it was good.
Yeah.
Our one mutual friend, um, the two times that she had to say goodbye and kiss her son goodbye before his heart transplants. So he had his first heart transplant when he was 8 weeks, and he just had his second heart transplant. What was it, this last January, February? And he is in his 20s. So his first heart lasted a long time, and I just can't even imagine having to do that. First of all, having him and having to do it the first time, knowing that you will have to do it eventually the second time,
Right, right. That's
maybe
definitely
third
scary.
time. I mean, it's always there in front of you, and I can't imagine. He requires care, different kind of care than having kids that don't have heart transplants, obviously.
Oh
So
yeah, definitely.
that had to be absolutely terrifying
Well,
for
yeah,
her.
as a mom, you would never want, any of your children um, being born or being raised with any type of health scare or health problem. I know, with my daughter, my goodness, if her temperature went up to 103, 104, that freaked me out. So I can only imagine, how she felt with a whole heart transplant.
I can't. I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking every time he has to have a heart biopsy to check his heart, every time he has
Oh,
to go
yeah.
check up. Something may be wrong that you can't see or he may not be showing symptoms of yet. So you're always holding your breath, I would think. And I
Oh my
think
God, yes. I can't even imagine how that must feel. I mean, I know my daughter, her son was born with a disability. It's called lissencephaly, where he has a smooth brain and everything. And we don't know what his lifespan is, and neither do doctors because they're unaware of this health problem or health issue or disability that he has. So it's almost like living on the edge every single day of your
I,
life.
I can
It's
only
so scary.
I can, and I know that you said he has seizures every day,
Yes, he
and
has
that's
over 20
I
seizures a
did.
day.
I witnessed my sister having seizures, and I had never witnessed that before, and that's very scary. She had them when she had her stroke, and and for that poor little man of yours to have to go through that daily, you're holding your breath because you just don't know what the outcome is going to be, and it's scary. It's scary.
It is scary, but at the same time, then you say to yourself, or at least I try to tell her, you just have to live day by day. Unfortunately, because yes, he does have a disability and he does have a health problem. I mean, when we walk out the door to go to work, to get in our car, to do whatever, who's to say that we're going to come back home? We may not come back home. You know
True.
what I mean? So you have to live life every single day like it's the last one, you
You
know?
You do. And in her case, both outcomes were great. And she leaned on her family and friends for support and prayer. And
She did,
she
yes.
has a great family. She has a great support system in place. When he was going through his heart transplant, I think she posted pictures, and the whole family's in the waiting room waiting for that kid to come out.
Yes, I saw those pictures as well. That's wonderful that she has that big, huge support group.
College, it was a big, and it's so nice to see
Yeah.
that that strong.
Yeah, you don't see that very much nowadays. So that's great that she has that.
Yeah. So that was her biggest, and I just again can't imagine. And then another mutual friend of ours posted the decisions she had to make for her first husband after his stroke, learning to be his caregiver, and then learning to let go. Um, Faith and family, she said. She has a huge support network in her church and her faith in God and family and just support um, got her through. They were all there for her. And then she had to, after he passed, a leap of faith to love again. And I did meet him the other night at the high school
Oh,
semi
that's
class
great.
reunion. Yeah, he's a very nice guy.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
Looks like he's great with her and there for her. And
And that's good
yeah,
that she got a second chance at love again. So that's awesome.
well, she had to trust in that because of what she had just gone through not too long prior with her husband, because
Oh,
that's a pretty fresh wound because he was sick for a long time after the stroke. It wasn't like it
yes.
there was a lot of caregiving going on her part and what she had to learn, and then just knowing you're going to love again and there's no guarantee, and possibly losing another spouse.
Right.
She's now gone through it once, so I imagine that kind of lingers over her head. Is he going to be okay? Because the stroke kind of just comes out of nowhere usually. So
Oh, yes, definitely.
yeah,
Well, being a caregiver in its own self is um is very difficult because you have to make decisions that can sometimes be very difficult. I had to be a caregiver for my mom, and So I can understand, how she feels when she says that you need, as much support as possible. And that's great that she could lean in on her church and everything. I feel that that's important as well. So, you know, but that's great. Life has given her a second chance. So,
So, what was the thing that scared you most in life that you had to get through and cope?
um, I think the scariest thing was when my mother passed away. I knew that it was going to happen. I mean, obviously, that people are not going to live forever. But as fast as it came, I believe that's what scared me the most is that it was so sudden and so fast, and you didn't have time to blink, and everybody's looking at you because you are the person that should be making the decisions. And I don't know who gave me that title, but everybody turned around and looked at me, and those decisions that I had to make, they're very hard decisions. At one point she was on a ventilator, and at one point they were telling me that she had brain damage because um she had trouble breathing, and so they had to put her on a vent, and they put her in an induced coma for a couple of days. When she did come through, then they tried to extubate her, and she wasn't able to breathe on her own. She did for a little bit and then wasn't. And then after that, it was just downhill. She had to get a trach, and then her heart stopped. And then they had to do CPR for her and everything, but she was down for like 20 minutes,
Oh,
25 minutes. And then finally, when they did get her heart to come back, um, her brain had already been affected. And so, of course, she's on a ventilator, her heart's still beating, everything's still going fine. And her heart was strong. I mean, given she's had heart attacks before, but her heart still wanted to go. And they were looking at me like they wanted me to pull the ventilator, and just let her go. And I could not bring myself to do that. So I did, or put myself in that caregiver role, and I took care of her until her last breath. And then at the end, I brought her home, and she was able to be around all of her family as well, because it was during the last bits of COVID time where they weren't letting a lot of people in the hospital. So, but I think that was the most scariest thing I ever went through. And then the funeral and having to say goodbye. So,
yeah, that's
yeah,
tough.
yeah, those were difficult.
Even though you know it's coming,
Yeah,
and no one lives forever, and they can be sick and have cancer. No matter how you prepare yourself, it's always difficult.
it is. I mean, still till now, it's been 2 years and it still affects me. Like,
Oh,
I'll go home, I'll open the door, and I guess my brother or someone had a picture printed of her, and they have it like laying right by her door, or for to her bedroom, and it's like right there facing you. So it's like you're looking at her every day when you walk in through that door, and it bothers me.
yeah.
So, what about you? What is your scariest?
My scariest. Hmm. I guess that would probably be my sister and her health and her passing, because she was ill for 18 years, and she had IgA nephropathy, and with that comes a bunch of side effects. And it's a rare kidney disease, and well, I guess the IgA, the actual disease, I guess, can attack any organ, and hers, it attacked her kidneys, and it was a long 18 years. I mean, sometimes she was in the hospital for a month at a time, and every time the phone rang, you just wondered who was calling you and why, because if stuff was going on at her house, she wouldn't tell people. she wasn't feeling right. Even her husband, she wouldn't tell people until it had gone past the point of, well, now we need to go call 911, you know.
Right.
She didn't like going to the hospital, obviously. Who does? No one does. And she had young kids. So, she went in for an infection. She was 44 years old when we had to take her off the ventilator. She went in for an infection. They gave her uh, a bunch of fluids for different things. They were trying to do something, but in the process, they did not give her dialysis because of the kidney disease. Her kidneys together worked at like 3%. And so she all of a sudden started having trouble breathing, which caused her to panic. And they had to put her on a vent. And then just from there, other things started to happen. They fixed one thing, and then something else would go wacky, and they fixed that, and then something else would go wacky. And she ended up, and they were trying to put in a PICC line, which then caused her to have a heart attack. And
Yes.
yeah, the heart attack, they do that enzyme count,
Yes.
and they did the enzyme count one night, and it was double digits. I forget what it was. And then the next day it was up a digit or more too, the next day when they retested. And then it damaged the part of the heart that pumps the heart, which is the front part of the heart.
Yes.
So it had, damaged the front part of her heart. All this happened over 5 days. It was the longest 5 days of my life in a hospital. I would get home to shower, change, maybe get some sleep that wasn't like in a chair at the hospital or on the floor or whatever. And my brother-in-law would call me and be like, you need to get back here. I just put on fresh clothes and go back out the door.
Right.
And,
Right.
yeah, and it was a long, long 5 days. And it got to the point where she didn't have a blood pressure unless she was on meds. The front part of her heart was damaged. She was in a coma. She slipped into the coma on her own. And it came to the point that, she was gone, but on all the machines.
Yeah.
So, you have to go through and sign all the paperwork, and everyone from different floors of the hospital come to witness it. And it's a big thing to take someone off of life support.
Yes. Yes.
Quite the process. Everyone just, in the movies, they just shut off the machines and there you go. And that's not how that works, And
No, nobody knows the background of that stuff unless you've actually
know the true background of that stuff.
witnessed it.
You
Yeah.
don't live it or deal with it in work. You don't know the background of that stuff. And then she went, and that was that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was so unexpected, and that put me into a depression. And then that's a whole other thing.
We'll make an episode on that one of these days. So.
I never lost anyone close to me, so like that. So yeah, in my family, yeah, I had never lost anyone close to me. So it was she had young kids. Her kids were still in high school. It was devastating to them, and they had no idea how sick she really was. She kind of kept it from them, thinking she was protecting them, but in the same token, she didn't prepare them.
Yeah.
And so they were at home making food, and a relative of ours shows up at the door, is like, I need you to get in the car, gotta take you to the hospital now. I mean, they were like, huh? Yeah, I mean, it was quite the whirlwind of how it all happened, and it, was a long 5 days in the hospital from start to finish
Definitely.
So.
I'm sure everybody was sitting on the edge of their chairs.
Yeah, it was awful. It was truly awful, I don't know. I'm glad I had that time with her, even though I'm sure to some degree she knew I was there, but it just still was, and it affected me greatly. So I still have good moments and bad moments, and it just was 15 years on the 17th of September. So you were saying it's only been 2 years. It's still been 2 years for your mom. Well, that's nothing. That's still real early in your healing process. I think the first year I cried at least twice a day in the shower after I kind of leveled out after the initial shock of it happening and getting through the funeral. I leveled out a little bit, and I would have a few moments of break, but the good cries were like in the morning in the shower. And because I work in a clinic, in the afternoon when I'm rinsing off when I get home to get those germs off.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine were at night usually because I'm usually a late bird.
Yeah.
I stay up late. So mine were mainly at night. Still, they're at night. But yeah, see, after 15 years, it still affects you. Everybody says that, it'll get better, it'll get better. I don't know.
Well, I don't know if better is the right word. I will tell you, I don't cry daily a lot over any of that anymore. I don't cry weekly,
Mhm.
monthly. I think about her every day. I drive by her cemetery every day to and from work. So I always look over and I acknowledge. And but it does in that sense. Life does go on. Um, Everyone goes through losing someone.
Yes.
Everyone. That is one thing we have in common
Yes.
in this world is we all will lose people we love and care for and not sure how we're going to get through it, and we do. So your moments will get less and less. You'll start to be able to laugh. It took me a while to think back to certain things she would say to me, or when she was chasing me around the house once with the camera because my mom had done banana curls in my hair and I wanted to rip them all out. And she was chasing, I can look back and laugh at things like that instead of cry.
Right. Right.
So, uh,
Yeah, it's hard for me to even sometimes talk about her when then, like I just feel like there's a big knot in my throat and I'm like, okay, nah, I can't do it anymore.
yeah,
Like and then I try to think of something else and I move on and I do something else throughout the day to kind of keep my mind busy and keep my mind off of that. But then, late at night when you're at home and you're in your bed and something rolls up, and believe it or not, I have her house coat and I have one of her night dresses and I keep them under my pillow while I sleep.
do you?
I do. I just feel like I'm closer to her at the time, you know? And yeah, sometimes I'll lay there and I'll just talk to her or whatever. And believe it or not, like it's funny because we were talking about it today with one of my employees. Her dad had passed away from a massive heart attack, but that was years ago. And she was telling me that it's almost like they have a premonition that they know that they're going. Um,
I believe
I don't
that's
know.
true.
Yeah. Did it
There were,
did it happen to your sister?
yeah, there were things that had happened that just, yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
that kind of led
well up.
that.
Yeah, that will upset me. But there were
Yeah.
things that happened, and yeah, she knew.
Yeah.
No,
My
she knew.
mother also knew when she came out the first time out of being in a medically induced coma and they brought her out of that. The first thing she said was where her mother was, which is my grandmother. And I told her, "What are you talking about?" Now, mind you, my grandmother's been dead for 28 years. So, and then she's like, where's my mom? She was just here in the room. And as soon as I heard that, like, I just knew.
Yeah.
I just knew. I'm like, no. Then I was like talking in the air. I'm like, Grandma, don't come here. Like, I don't want you here right now. Come back later.
I
You
love you.
know?
Go.
Exactly. I love you, but can you please not come in my mom's dreams?
Yeah. No, she knew, and there were things that transpired right before she totally lost complete consciousness. So I do know
Yeah.
she knew.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No. And while I miss her, and her passing totally changed the dynamics of my family. Totally changed.
Yes, that I agree with 100%.
I mean, well, my family totally just kind of disintegrated. What we had left was now I haven't talked to my oldest sister since my mom passed, which is 9 years, almost 10. It'll be 10 in January. So it totally changed um, everything. She was the one I was closest to. So I I miss her. I miss her every day. I do think about her every day, still to this day. Not even driving by her cemetery every day. I still think about her, every day, but she's not suffering anymore. And there
Right.
comes a point in your healing and when you're getting through it all that you're just like, it was a huge relief when she finally went. It sounds awful, um, but she was not herself anymore. I mean, not
Well,
to
I
be
think
graphic or anything, but her body was ice cold in the hospital.
yeah, and
And
same with my mom. Like I think about when they get to that certain point, when they're starting to get ready to go. Um, I don't think they're there anymore. Like for
no,
my mom, it just you can see it in her eyes, like she just wasn't there. Her
yeah,
body was here, but her soul was getting ready, you know.
yeah,
And I mean, I strongly believe in that kind of stuff. I'm a church goer and I do all of that stuff. I'm not, one of those crazy fanatic church goers, and nothing's wrong with them. They're perfectly fine too. But I feel like I talk to God on my own way,
hmm
and He knows where I am. So
yep, and so when my mom passed, that was different for me. My mom was older, and she was 77 when she passed. She's been gone 9 years, and I don't. She was older. She had lived longer, more of a fulfilled life than my sister, where I felt like she was robbed. And I mean, she didn't want a kidney disease and all that stuff, and no, there's no history of it in our family. And she didn't get to finish watching her kids grow up. She just wanted to see them get through high school,
right.
and she didn't get to do that either. So it affected me differently than losing my mom. I didn't go into depression when I lost my mom. I was sad. I had moments. I still have moments where I miss my mom, but
But your mom got to see you guys grow up, and she had a pretty much fulfilled life.
correct. And so losing my sister Colette, that was very different, and it affected me very differently. So um, it still haunts me. Her
Yeah,
death
for
still
sure.
kind of haunts me to this day, on and off. So it just was affecting me differently, and I coped with, well, the family thing really wasn't working because it affected me so much and so deeply that I did have to go on meds for a while to get out of my funk and to stop feeling sad and
Well, yeah, and sometimes you have to be able to get that little push to get up and go.
yeah,
Because like you said, if you don't have that much family around, you don't have anybody to support you
no,
to be able to be like, hey, listen, you need to eat, you need to drink, you need to get up, come on, let's go.
yeah,
You don't have that.
no,
And when you were talking about how the dynamics and everything changed once that person, moves on and passes on, it happened the same thing in my house too as well. I mean, although we have a lot of extended family, like my aunts and my uncles and all of that stuff, everybody has their opinion and everybody likes to say things maybe they shouldn't be saying to you at a moment that you are not thinking clearly.
correct,
So even though I had a lot of that family support and it was wonderful, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that it wasn't there and it wasn't great. And everybody, after my mom passed, they would send food over and they would, they would come and visit and just make us feel a little bit better. Um, but sometimes the things that came out of their mouth, I was like, why are you even here? Like, can you
yeah.
just leave?
I had family that would bring food and dishes and whatnot, but they're not close
Yeah.
family, and they were trying hard, and I just wasn't real receptive. It wasn't out of being mean or spiteful. I just wasn't in the mood. I was
Right.
sad. I was heartbroken,
Sure.
you know. And yeah, so thank you for everyone who did that. But
Yeah.
it sent me into a totally different tailspin. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it just,
Well, that's why, like I said, like, yes, everything is, I'm appreciative for everything that I ever got from anyone, even to the smallest, small little tissue that I needed at the moment in time,
yeah,
So I'm appreciative for that too as well. But sometimes you didn't want to hear it. You just didn't want to hear it.
no, you don't want to hear it. And then just some people are so insensitive. I remember being at the funeral home and we were getting ready. She's in a niche. So she's cremated, she's in an urn, and the urn is in a niche, which is in a wall. And because my brother-in-law wanted a place for their children to go and talk to her and
Hmm.
have a place for her,
Sure.
to go see her essentially. And so, and then he paid for all his stuff when he goes to be with her. So, um, and I remember this older lady, and she came up to me and she grabbed me by the face, and I look like hell, and I'm so upset. And she's like, "Oh, you look like her," and I'm just looking at her, and I'm thinking, "Who are you? And why are you touching my face?" I don't know who you are, you know. "Oh, you look like her. I'm so sorry." And then she goes to me, "Was it the cancer?" Well, me and my attitude, I'm just looking at her. I'm like, and I just said to her, "No." And she's sitting there waiting, and she wanted to know what had
All the
happened to
details.
my sister.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure who she was. I don't know why she was there. Um, I don't know if she came with someone and just knew of my sister or whatnot. But if you truly knew my sister, you knew how sick she really was and that she was sick for a long time.
Right.
And I'm just looking at her going, "You really are asking me how my sister died at her funeral." I mean, the minister just stopped talking and we're getting ready to go to the niche to
Yes.
place, and you're wondering how she died and you're asking me. I'm just looking at her. I didn't say anything.
Right now.
There
Like,
And she stood there and waited, and eventually I just turned around and walked away because I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not telling you squat. I don't even know who you are, and clearly you didn't know my sister well enough to know what she passed from."
yeah.
Because other people who would see me where I work afterwards, and they're just like, they were neighbors and stuff. I knew them, they knew me, and they're just like, "I know you're heartbroken, but she was so, so sick." I said, I know she was, and I do, you know, and there was relief to her going. I miss her. I wish she was never sick. I wish
Yeah.
we never did that, had to go through that, you know, but she's, at peace.
Yeah.
She no
That's,
longer hurts,
yes, exactly.
and that's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's part of the healing process. You
It
realize
is.
it gives you more and more comfort knowing that as time goes on.
Yeah.
So you're still sad. You're always going to miss your mom. She was your mom. You only have one mom, but again, I don't know if better is the right word, but it does improve. Maybe improve is a better word, um,
Yeah. I
for
think
everybody
that
at
word
different
best.
situations. I try not to dwell on it too much. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
certain things like her anniversary, our birthdays, you know, bother me, um, because her birthday
Well,
or
when
mine.
this time comes around, so it was September the 29th, um, in 2020, when I took her into the hospital. And then it was October the 19th when her heart stopped. So those dates will forever be impressioned
Mhm.
in my mind. Um, and when those dates come around, like you said, it does get a little bit hard and a little bit difficult, but I try to keep myself busy. Her birthday was this month on the 8th. And, and when I looked at it in the morning, I didn't look at it the rest of the day that day.
Yeah,
I just kept going.
yeah,
So yeah, for you to say that, what those dates and things like that, yeah, you never forget those.
no,
Absolutely never forget those.
you don't. You don't, and I don't. But again, there is a huge relief in knowing she's no longer sick. She used to always wonder what she had done to deserve
Yeah.
what she got, kind of how she felt,
Right.
because I had no health issues, and my oldest sister that I know of has at that time had no health issues. So, um, I'm like, it's not really how it works, you know. And but and she knew she would go early, but she always told me more like she thought late 50s, early 60s is kind of what was indicated, and 44 was just way short of that, you know. So,
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was
but she
very
didn't get
short.
to see her kids graduate high school. Matter of fact, it was her son's senior year, and now she has two grandbabies that she never got to hold or see or
Sure.
you know.
Speaking of that, that's funny that you mentioned that. Like those things I would think about too. Like when I see my daughter's kids, for example, I would be like, mom would have liked that, or
Yeah,
mom mom would have like, oh my gosh, she would have loved him,
yeah,
or would have this. She got to see the first one, so she was able to be a great grandmother, which is a huge deal, like in our family, because we have never had a great grandmother. Usually people always pass on before that. So that was a huge big deal. And so she got to be a great grandmother for a little while, which was nice, and she loved it. She was a little saddened about, Maxine's baby and having all the disabilities that he has. But, you
yeah.
know,
Just
obviously we still
hard
love
to
him, and
love
yeah,
them to be happy and healthy. They're these little innocent souls, and
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. Oh, and that maybe that's another hardest moment I should say is when you hear your daughter cry on the phone like you've never heard her cry her whole entire life.
yeah.
That, when I tell you that tears you in half, it tears you apart.
Oh, I bet.
Tears you apart.
Yeah, I bet. You can't fix whatever is wrong or going on.
Yeah.
You can't help the situation. She has to get through each day and take care of him and love him until, whenever. It's
Yeah.
this is what comes with this, and yeah, and it's heartbreaking because I'm sure she is exhausted
Yes.
emotionally. It's exhausting, and you don't want him, you know, to be miserable. I mean, I don't know if that's even the right word. It's hard to watch. It has to be hard to watch.
It is. It is hard to watch, but when you do see him, the only thing that you do is you just have to love him. That's it.
That's all you can do.
That's it.
That's all you can do, and he
Yeah.
gets plenty of love.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
So I think part of what is the thing that has scared you the most? It's things that we can't control. It's
That's a
mortality.
better way. Yes, you hit it right on the nail. That's a better way to put it. Is
Yeah,
that are the things that do scare you the most? Absolutely.
you know. I mean, we know all of us is going to pass. I hope I don't suffer long. you know.
Oh,
Whatever,
me too. I'm right there with you. I'm like, please just take me in my sleep.
right? I hope we don't suffer long, and
Well,
you
it's
know,
not even for us, to be selfish, but it's for everybody that's watching us or everybody that's around us.
yeah,
It's
true.
like don't let them be our caregivers, you
Yeah,
know. Just let us go peacefully.
yeah, I know, I know. I
Yeah.
don't ever want to be, it's like when my mom passed, she had a UTI and she went, what is it, septic?
Yes.
And it was quick, hours, um, before the labs and tests were done, and this is what's going on, and it's really just CMO at this point, and we were all fine with that, and it was quick, and um, she wasn't in any pain,
Right.
you know, and you know, and that was that. Uh, like I said, the one that bothers me is going to be my sister.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I can
Making,
only imagine, especially when you're close to someone.
making those tough decisions, and then my brother-in-law wavering. And it's like, she would always tell me to tell. She always called her husband Teddy. You make sure Teddy knows, Char, no Terry Schiavo. And that whole big case down here with Terry Schiavo, who was a vegetable for 10 years. And then that
Oh, okay. I see. Yes.
judge allowed the husband to remove the feeding tube eventually after 10 years and stuff like
Yes,
that.
I remember that story. Yeah.
No one wants to be stuck in a bed with a feeding tube and
Oh,
all that 10 years and never moving, never, I mean, you're not living
no, you're not living.
at that point. And she always say, no Terry Schiavo, and you make sure he remembers that. I told him it's in writing, but you make sure I got it. So she knew.
Right. And I'm sure that's hard to hear too, from your loved
They
one
were not my favorite
say
conversation.
that.
Every time she went into a hospital, uh, you know, they were just not my favorite conversations.
No, of course not. But, she had to make sure that someone would, take care of her. And obviously she was so close to you, so she leaned on you for that. So,
So,
yeah.
and
Even though if it was something you didn't really want to hear. But,
well, but when you're sitting in a room and they got the family and you have a wall full of specialists
yeah.
from every department lined up, and they tell you who they are, what their part was in her care,
Hmm.
what of everything were, and what it means to them, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then the next one.
Yeah.
It's I mean, I knew she wasn't coming out that time,
Right.
so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also don't like hearing the terms code blue when they're actually calling the code blue. That brings back a flood of memories too.
Oh, yes. The same
Yeah,
here.
that's very real code, and everyone comes
Yeah.
running, and I don't care for it. That's yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. Same here. I witnessed that as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
don't care witnessing that either. So, you
No.
know, yeah. So I guess pretty much out of the four of us,
Yeah.
the census is what scared us the most is, losing loved ones.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
loved.
Yeah. And how important family it can be, or friends, or outside sources such as church, um, communities, things like that that can be very helpful, and
Support system.
yeah, support system. Just
Yep.
can be very calming and relaxing, to have people around.
I mean, they can only do so much. You're still the one
Yes.
dealing the main, but to have them there and just hug you sometimes is all you need.
Yeah, I didn't even want anybody to talk. Just give me a hug. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me
Some
cry a good cry
why you
and I'm
touch
good with that.
enough.
But don't touch your face, right? On a lighter note, we got to make a little bit of lighter notes
we
here.
do, we do,
This
we do.
was a very, very heavy episode, so
It's a little on the heavy side, that's for sure. But I think it's all something, yeah, it's something we all go through one way or another.
absolutely. And not many people talk about it, and it's great to have somebody like you that I can actually sit here and voice myself, and you understand what I'm going through.
Like,
Even if you didn't understand, you just listen.
well, and sometimes you just need someone to listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
But I do understand what you're going through, and um, when everyone says it gets, you know, better, time heals certain parts of everything. Time does heal certain things,
Sure.
lessens the pain, maybe. Um, but life does go on, and they would expect us to carry on, and just remember them with a smile, as corny as that sounds, or could sound, or be, you know.
Yeah, I'm trying. I'm trying the best that I can to do that. Sometimes just the tears come by themselves.
Well,
So,
and they need to, and you need to let them.
yeah.
I still have tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know. So I get it, but
Yeah.
it's definitely not like it was in the first few years.
Sure.
You know, you get through that first holiday. It's like, oh, this is the first Thanksgiving. This is the first Christmas. This is
Right.
the first New Year. This is the first birthday without her for everybody, you know. And then the
Yeah.
second year, okay, I survived the first year. Now we're in year two. I mean, it's still very new,
Yes, definitely.
you know. I don't know what phase you call it, but it's still very new,
Yeah.
you know. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's time to a degree.
Yeah.
Makes it
That's true.
easier to cope, maybe. Maybe that's, I don't know.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with it too. You learn how to cope with it and you just keep going.
You just keep going. You have to.
Yeah, you have to because you have other family members that
You
need
did
you.
grandbaby,
Yeah.
and that should bring you joy. You have two.
Yes, I do.
And I'm going to have two soon as well. So, um,
We're going to be on the same road. Look at us.
right, right. So yeah, and the holidays are fast approaching.
They are.
Halloween's around the corner. We're here at the end of September. We have a new week coming ahead,
Yes.
up to starting tomorrow, and yeah, I don't know.
Beginnings. Every day is a new day. That's how I see it. Every day is a new day.
It is. Every day is a new day.
If I'm
What?
having a bad
Well,
day like I
yeah,
had.
no.
Yeah, exactly. Last week I had like I was saying earlier in the episode that like um, I was just having a bad week. So what I would do at the end of the night after I was done with the thing, I'm like, okay, Pascal, now tomorrow is going to be a brand new day. We're going to start from fresh.
Right.
And then, and that kind of got me through it, through the week. So now where I'm not so drained by the end of the week, every day is a new day.
Well, I tell myself that too. It's like, okay, I got through that. I handled all that.
Yep.
Hopefully today less stuff is thrown at us like that, and you know, we'll
Yep.
just we just take it as it comes. That's all you can do,
That's it.
you
That's
know.
it.
But
Yep.
yeah, so I think that's it
Yeah.
for today.
That's it for today. Yes.
Don't
I
know what
hope.
we're gonna talk next week, but I will work on that.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll figure it out by the end of the time. But, thanks everyone for joining us and listening to what our scariest moments in life are. And hope to have you listen in on our next episodes coming up soon. Char's doing a great um, job with trying to get everything put together and everything like that. So kudos to you. Kudos to you.
It's a learning curve, and we keep
Yes,
changing it because we hear new things, so we want to try new things and figure out what works best for us. And it's
absolutely.
a work in progress and growing and changing.
Yes, definitely.
Right.
But
Sometimes.
yeah, I know it's hard, but you are doing a really great job. I will give you that much, because
um,
to be honest with you, I don't know if I had time to sit down. I think I would get frustrated by the end of the night. But you're finding ways and you're finding new ways, and I'm here to tag along. I'm here and I'm open. Choo
appreciate you.
choo, ride that train.
Right.
Yes.
Appreciate your help and support because you've done your time too. You've been helping me figure things out and whatnot. So because our computers are a little different, so
Yeah, they
my
are.
like it just doesn't ever work from the get go like they say it's going to online.
Well, nothing ever does it?
No, I suppose
No.
not.
It's okay, but like you said, it's a learning curve and you're doing a great job at it. So we
Thank
look
you.
forward to having everyone listen in on future episodes and leave us your comments, please, down
Yes.
yonder, and we will go ahead and reply to them. We thank you guys so much and look forward to us doing another episode and have you listening to it.
Right, right. Yes, you can find us on Facebook, Girlfriend Minute, easy peasy. And questions, comments, concerns, like our page, please. We can get some traffic, get this thing off the ground.
Yes, definitely. And we're also on what? Spotify, and we're also on a couple of other.
iHeart, Pandora, Deezer.
Okay. See,
There's
you have
about
a lot to choose from, people. Get on that.
yeah,
Get on that.
yeah, yeah. So Amazon. So you can find us on the different platforms and have a great night and a happy Monday.
You too. Have a great week.
Yeah, you as well. You as well. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.